Hey kicking buddies, thanks for joining me again today. It is Plank-A-Palooza and I hope we'll still be friends after this. We'll start by getting the low back and the obliques warmed up. We'll put your fingertips at your shoulders, elbows out to the side and just to the pace and range of motion that feels good to you. We're just going to twist from side to side. So opening up the low back and the obliques to get us started. We'll also do a little bit more core warm up in just a moment and then we'll get right down into it. Take a little bit of a disclaimer here that I'll have to be turning my head to speak into the microphone, so I'm going to pull myself kind of out of alignment. My hips will come back, my shoulders will come behind my wrists, so do as I say, not as I do. Okay, and we'll meet in all fours. For your baby bear option, you can have your cat and cow. Drop your belly, arch your spine. If you'd like more, you can have downward facing dog to all fours. That's your mama bear. And if you'd like more, your papa bear will take you from downward facing dog to upward facing dog. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. So you put your belly up and back like a lawnmower starter. We're going to go from plank to down dog, and then we'll add some more to it if you feel like you want more. So down dog, plank, down dog, plank. If you need to move your feet or sort of scoot your feet forward and back, that's fine for this. If you like more, when you come into down dog, touch your right hand to your left ankle and then your left hand to your right ankle and just alternate as you go. You don't have to touch your ankle, it can be your knee or your hip. And we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. We'll kick up your right leg as high as it feels like it wants to go. Onto the ball of your left foot, shoulders over your wrist, right knee to left elbow, and then we'll kick it back just as you did before. So you're shifting your weight forward and backward. We just want to do about 7 to 10 on each side. It doesn't have to be exact, and I'm speaking, so I'll probably get off on my own count. 7 to 10 will do you just fine. And lean back in downward facing dog. We'll roll the shoulders over the wrist, hips in line with the rest of your spine. Dip one hip and then the other. Drop the knees. For turbo dog, you might need to walk your feet in a little bit to achieve the right effect. So your knees are just barely hovering. Step back to your plank and back to your hip dips. We'll drop the Knees, push-ups back to heels for a little child's pose. Stretch out your arms, pecs, low back. Whatever else you need to do, have some water. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Good. So back to downward facing dog. This is a nice little spot to rest, sort of have an active rest if you need one. So we're gonna kind of block your plank or your bird dog. So as a modification, you can start on your knees and hold your left leg and your right arm out, change sides, and take your right leg and left arm. But if you're in the mood for the challenge, take it from plank and just walk it out. And down. So here again, you can be in the modified plank variation. I'm going to do that for myself because I have to teach later this evening, so I want to keep a little in the tank. You can also do it from your full plank. We're going to take your right forearm down, your left forearm down, your right palm up, and your left palm up. And then we're going to do that on the other side. Left forearm, right forearm, left palm, right palm. Right forearm, left forearm, right palm, left palm. Left forearm, right forearm, left palm, right palm, right forearm. Left forearm, right palm, left palm. Left forearm, right forearm, left palm, right palm, right palm, left forearm, and on and on. And that's enough of that shit. So we're going to take more of a side plank now. So you'll sort of imagine that there's a line going down the center of your mat, and get your palm lined up onto the center of that, and get your knee lined up right behind that. And you can take your arm up overhead. So if you'd like a little bit more, you can take your left leg parallel to the floor. The key here is not to get sway back. A lot of people will arch the spine. We don't want you to do that because that means your low back is holding you up. So this is a nice place to be. You'll feel the work in the medius and abductor. You might like to take the full side plank and take the leg up. And it's just as effective. It's a little more challenging, a little less surface area to distribute your body weight. Good. And we'll change sides. So line down the center of your mat. Your left palm and left knee line up behind one another. Perhaps you want to leave your foot on the floor today. That's kind of your baby bear. Perhaps you'd like to hover your right leg above the floor. That's kind of your mama bear. Maybe you feel like you can take it from your full side plank pose. And back down. Okay, now we're going to come onto your forearm. You're going to bring your right forearm parallel to the top of the mat. So to be clear, it's not going forward the way you would for a forearm plank. It's going sideways. And then you're going to come out into your side plank pose. You bring your left fingertips to your shoulder, squeeze the elbow to the floor, and up to the ceiling. To the floor and the ceiling. We'll change sides. So the left forearm out parallel to the top of your mat, and then your right elbow points to the ceiling and to the floor. Again, 7 to 10 is probably a good ballpark. 5 if you're really tired. Good. And back to all fours. So we're going to take turbo dog again. Curl your toes under, hover your knees. So really pull your belly up away from the floor. You're going to feel your quads engage quite a bit. And press up and back to downward facing dog. Now we're going to take something called the creepy crawler. So you're going to drop back to the very back part of your mat. You need a lot of material out in front of you because we're going to walk our body weight forward. So we have, of course, our baby bear, mama bear, and our papa bear, but the ultimate goal is to go from child's pose to chaturanga. So not child's pose to plank to chaturanga, child to chaturanga. So here we go, you're gonna come out into your full child's pose. For baby bear, it's just step number 1. You pull yourself forward onto your elbows as far as you can, your knees are on the floor and your feet are up in the air. So you can just go back and forth like that if you need baby bear. Mama bear takes baby bear plus 1 more step, and it's this. You come all the way forward like you did for baby, then you set your toes down on the floor and pick up your knees. So it's almost like you're in a forearm plank, not quite. Your chest is really kind of too low for that. And then papa bear, baby, mama, plus 1 other step. Just as you did before, baby bear, mama bear, papa bear. So you roll your weight back onto your palms, and then you drop your knees, your elbows, and your hips. So here's what it looks like, full speed. Good. So that's a full body weight workout. So about 7 to 10 or 5 if you're tired is plenty. Coming back up to all fours. We're going to sort of walk ourselves up and back a little bit. We're going to keep your shoulders parallel to the floor. Walk your feet back and turn both of your toes to the right. And we're going to dip your hip. So using your obliques, pulling it up and back. So again, the shoulders are parallel, the hips point out to the side. 7 to 10 of these. And then when you're ready, drop your feet to point the other direction. The hip goes down. We'll meet back in downward facing dog for our active rest. Keep pulling the belly button up and back. We don't want your belly to be loose here. Good. And release the knees back to the floor. So we're going to hold a forearm plank, and I like to take more of a dolphin style forearm plank, meaning that my arms form a 3-point stance. Instead of being out here, I find it works a little bit better for me because I widen the shoulders to interlace my fingers. So you're not here, you're down here. So squeeze in with your elbows. You should feel your pecs working pretty hard. More of your bicep than normal. And release. So one of the last things we'll do is we'll come from chaturanga to a side plank, and we'll change sides each time. So it's more difficult to do it with your knees on the floor. It's better to do it from the Papa Bear, but if you don't have that available to you, you'll just move a little bit more slowly and deliberately. Chaturanga. Side plank. Chaturanga. Side plank. Chaturanga. Side plank. Chaturanga. Side plank. You do once more on each side. And then once you're complete, you can take lizard pose or pigeon or stretch out your pecs by taking your hands behind your back and pulling your elbows to the wall behind you and give yourself a little rest. Stay tuned for part 2.